We all want success. I'm not sure we'd all agree on what success is, but we all want it. Mr. Webster defines it as the accumulation of material possessions or the attainment of a position of power or prestige or something along that line. And while I consider those to be worthy accomplishments, I don't think they necessarily indicate success. They might, but not necessarily so. Perhaps the teaching of my father to me and my three brothers, we were raised on a small farm in southern Indiana, and I think he tried to get across to us as something that may sound a little strange, at least the first part of it will be strange to you. He said, never try to be better than someone else. Learn from others all you can, but never try to be better than someone else. But never cease to try to be the best that you can be. That's within your power. The other isn't. And when you get yourself too involved with things that are beyond your control, it will only adversely affect the things that are under your control or should be under your control. So I think that helped me in my search, and I came up with my own definition of success. Peace of mind, which can be attained only through self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to become the best of which you're capable. We're all equal in that respect. We can do that. We may not have the same facilities, the extenuating circumstances may be different, but we have an equal chance of making the most of the conditions that exist for us out of what we have, and the opportunity to try to improve those conditions to the best of our ability. So, if I were coining the definition for success today, I don't believe I'd change it from what I did in 1934. I wanted to get that idea across to the youngsters under my supervision. I wanted to try to live up to it myself. But it didn't seem to please me. Finally came to the conclusion it's because this was just a definition, rather abject. You can't see it or feel it, hear it. Things we can see, I think, make a better impression, so I wanted to come up with something you could see that gave me an idea of the development of a pyramid, something that I chose to call a pyramid to success, and I completed it when I was teaching at Indiana State University. At the apex, I placed success according to my definition. But in 1934, I placed two blocks as the cornerstones that I never changed. One is industriousness, and the other is enthusiasm. You have to work hard. There is no substitute for work. Too many of us at times are looking for the shortcut, the easy way, the trick. We may get by for a while, but we'll not be developing the talents that lie within us when we do that. There simply is no substitute for work. The other cornerstone is enthusiasm. You have to enjoy what you're doing. It's a people-oriented world. You have to be enthusiastic. If you want to affect them, you better be. And they're working with you, not for you. Never forget that. They're working with you, not for you. And you must have enthusiasm if you're going to stimulate them. Between the cornerstones of this structure, I placed three blocks that I think are strong. One is friendship, another is loyalty, and the third is cooperation. Friendship, we must work at it. Too often we take it for granted, just as marriage is too often taken for granted. You must work at it, both sides, not just one side. It isn't friendship when someone's doing something nice for you. That's a nice person. That isn't friendship. It isn't friendship until it becomes mutual, and you do for each other. So you have to have it to be able to have the feeling of serenity and peace that will enable you to function near your own particular level of competency. And then loyalty. I deeply and firmly believe that we must have someone to whom we must be loyal and something to which we must be loyal in order to make the most of our abilities. And then cooperation. It's such a small world in which we live today. As modern science and technology has changed so many things throughout the world. Modern means of transportation, the things that we see now. It's amazing what modern science and technology has done, which makes the world smaller and smaller, brings us closer and closer together, and demands that we have cooperation. And when you give, you receive. We must have cooperation. Next here I have 4 blocks: self-control, alertness, initiative, and intentness. We must maintain self-control. When we lose our self-control, whether it be performing a physical act or making a mental decision, you can't let your emotions take over and make decisions, although you're in an emotional situation so often. Reason must always prevail, because when emotion takes over, reason usually flies out the window. Alertness. There's something going on around about you from which you can learn. We must be alert and alive and observing, though. You've got to really study the things and be alert and see. There's things going on around about us all the time from which we can learn. But too often we get lost in our own narrow tunnel vision, and we don't see the things that are there. We must be alert. Then we must have initiative. Don't be afraid to fail. You are going to fail, you know, at times. You're not perfect. You must do what you think is right. Act according to your experience that you've had in the past. And when something requires action, act. The worst failure of all is the failure to act when action is needed, but act with reason. Don't be afraid to fail. And then the 4th block in this second tier is intentness. Now that is determination, it is persistence, it's perseverance, it's having goals, it's working hard toward those goals, it's knowing that the road to them will be difficult. If it was easy, it wouldn't be worthwhile. It'll be difficult, and you'll come against adversity. You may have to change your method. You may have to go around, under, over. You may have to back up, look at your waiver, start again. But you don't quit. We get stronger through adversity, whether it's weight programs, whether it's more difficult subjects in school, whether it's being tested emotionally, spiritually. We get stronger through adversity. And we should not dread it. We should know that it will make us stronger. Just above those 4 blocks, I have 3. One is condition, the second is skill, and the third is team spirit, which is nothing more than consideration for others. You must be conditioned for what you're doing. It isn't just athletes that have to have conditioning. You have to have conditioning. Surgeons have to be conditioned, salesmen, housewives, nurses. You must be conditioned in certain ways. Something that's within your power if you want to do it. Not difficult if you want to do it. If you don't want to, it's very difficult, yes. So you must condition. To have physical condition, it must be preceded by mental and moral conditioning, or you can never achieve it to the degree that's possible. And you must have it to be able to function near your ability level. Then you must have the skills. You must have the knowledge of and the ability to not only properly, but quickly execute the fundamentals. The 3rd block, that center tier, is team spirit, consideration for others. Oh, how we need that. There's roles for all of us, and we must fill our roles. Some will be in the limelight more, we'll get more credit, possibly undeserved at times, deserved at other times. But we must fill our roles in society, in the home, in our work, whatever we're doing. We must fill our roles, just as each player on an athletic team must. With these blocks, I think we can reach peace of mind, which can be attained only through self-satisfaction that we'll have in knowing that we need the effort to become the best of which we're capable.